Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Dr. Tina Iberonke. Welcome to Test to Testimony session. Tonight, we're going to hear another great story. But before we dive into the story, just want to recap on a few things. The last few sessions that we've talked about, we emphasized on how we can change our world, how you can change your world, how I can change my world, and what our world really means. The immediate environment that we find ourselves in, wherever our life operates, wherever you find yourself, that is your world, your home, your environment, your neighborhood, your church, wherever you probably spend your time, that is your world. Today we'll continue with test of testimony, but we might move on a different tangent today. Starting today and probably the following series, we'll talk about few people that's made a difference. Well, the type of difference they made was not because they want to be known for it. The difference that it seems like they had a goal, a purpose. God has placed them on earth to fulfill one goal and one purpose, and they focused on it. And they made sure they accomplished it. Not because they wanted men to praise them, not because they were waiting for followers or fans to give them a thumbs up. Neither were they waiting for the news or anyone to carry their story so that the whole world will know about them. Actually did this virtually in obscurity, and this spoke volume. It made me to start think on a I started to think on a different platform entirely. And maybe sometimes when God gives you a purpose, God gives you a goal, yours is just to follow through. Popularity or having someone to give you kudos, thank you for it, is not what we should be looking for. Or maybe you just want to be recognized. Maybe that's not the whole point. Maybe it just wants you to get the work done, not because they want your name to be written all over the news, all over the internet, all over social media, but for God to see what you have done, and He Himself will be the only one to thank you for it. And that's the story I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to be talking about Anne Schieber. This is someone I heard about not because I was really looking. I actually just found out about her in a book that I was reading. I read a few things and how this lady made an impact, and it just shook me. So I did a bit of research about her, and I realized that this was a woman that nobody knew. I was a woman just was living her life, living her purpose, knew what she was meant to accomplish as far as a goal is concerned, and she followed through. By the way, she lived 101 years old. She didn't die young, but she did not change at any point in time, or she was never, I would probably say, she was never distracted. Attention just because she probably moved into a day and age where recognition seems to be the order of the day. She never allowed that to distract her. And that's why today I just want to know to say this or to tell her story. Maybe somebody else will learn from it just the way I did. Anne Schieber, last name Scheiber, is a woman that was born in the 1800s, 1893 to be precise, and she died in 1995. She was a lawyer. She went to college. So she went to law school. She never really went into that practice. She decided to be an IRS auditor. So she chose that. And again, when we make choices in life, as long as God is leading us, there's no wrong profession as long as you're led into that profession. Even though she went to college, she went to law school, she didn't open a practice because it's not all about money sometimes. It's just about leading and how God directs your path because there's a purpose ahead of you. So she started to work as an auditor with the IRS, with the government. But then she faced discrimination. Of course, I believe back in the 1920s or 30s when she worked as a female auditor, she faced a lot of challenges. And I believe that was when she made up her mind, or at least she found her purpose, that she wanted to make sure that women coming behind her, she wanted to help them in such a way that maybe they wouldn't have to go through what she went through. And I believe that was probably what started a journey. So she lived frugally in a one-bedroom apartment, I guess you'll call it. And for those 50 years after she had retired from IRS, she saved up some money and then she started to invest. For those 50 years, she did not change the apartment that she was living in. She did not buy a big house just because her investment was growing. She actually was, as one of the things I read about her is that she was wearing some clothes that she had in 1944. And it was interesting to see someone that had so much saved up. I'll tell you the amount she had saved up by the time she died and still living frugally because it's a matter of what's going on around. It's not about impressing people around us. It's not about us. It's about God that needs to be glorified in our lives. It's about the purpose of God that needs to be fulfilled. And I wish and I hope that everyone else and myself will come to realization that sometimes we just need to sit back and think back one more time and try to figure out why we are here and what God wants us to do. Maybe it will keep us focused a little bit more. What am I saying? This woman did not change her lifestyle, not because she didn't have the money, but it was no point. She had a goal. And she held on to that goal until the point of her death. Nobody knew her. She wasn't doing it for anyone, just so that she can be recognized, so that her name can be on a building somewhere and say, "Oh, Miss So, Miss Anne Schieber now donated this million dollars to us, and so this is going to be dedicated to her." No, the whole goal was to help women, help them fund their education so they can become better, help them to be who God has called them to be. That was the goal. And she was saving up, invested. By the time she died in 1995, Miss Anne Schieber had saved up 20 million in investments. When she retired back in the 1930s, I think she had a savings of about $4,000 maybe, from what I read. And I think she was having probably annual, maybe their annual retirement income at the time was probably about $3,000. Whatever it may be. My point here is she wasn't spending it just because she had the money. She kept an eye on the goal. She kept moving forward. This goal, she didn't meet it in one day, not in 2 days. She didn't get to a point and say, you know what, I saved up so much millions. I'm going to go ahead and buy a house now, or I'm going to buy a car, a Ferrari. She knew that her purpose needs to be fulfilled and lives needs to be changed. That if she loses focus, it will affect a lot of lives. And she wanted these lives, the woman that probably would have gone out there and suffer for one thing or the other, or maybe just be discriminated based on whatsoever, will get enough education to become better in their positions, become better in their professionally. And by the time she died, she had 22 million saved up and she donated this money. Nobody knew she was saving up. Nobody knew she was going to donate the money. This only became known after her death. Someone worked for so much, she was not waiting. She did not wait to be recognized for it. She did a life work trying to support women in her own little room, in her own little way. I don't know how else to explain this, but it did hit something deep down in me. It touched me deep down. Oh my goodness. It's not the people that you see around today over on social media that are doing this and doing that. There are people that are out there just doing this without notice, doing what God wants them to do without being noticed. And that did not change their thought, their goal. They did not want to be like somebody else down the street. Neither do they want their names to be written, flashed all over, just because they're about to donate money to a university or college. But like I said, I hope we can reflect on this story. I hope we can breathe, take it all in, think about it, and think about our own life. What is my purpose? How am I accomplishing this? Again, this is a story that I've been thinking about. Oh my God, am I looking for someone to give me credit for what I'm trying to do for God? If God gave you a purpose, a goal, what you need to do, we all created to glorify his name, to bring glory to his name. And so there's a reason for why you and I are still alive. If you're waiting for men and women, maybe in your service, maybe it's a church, you're waiting for your boss at work to give you credit, you're waiting for your neighbor to say thank you, or even your partner at home to say, whoa, you've done a great job. Maybe we need to start thinking again, and maybe we'll just be able to do better. When we come to the realization that it's only God, everything we're doing is to bring God glory, and He alone is able to thank you in a way that's meaningful, not men. Men today will thank you, they will praise you. Tomorrow, they will look back and say, what exactly did that person do anyway? Person will flourish one day, some other person comes tomorrow, and they'll follow a new person. But God, He's the only one that sees inside, it sees outside, it sees everything that you and I are doing. So maybe instead of focusing on the credit we're going to get, instead of looking for men to praise us, maybe we need to look unto God and focus on the work that He has committed into our hands. As I round up, I want to go back to Anne Schieber. Without any doubt, this lady touched my life. When she died, like I was saying, in 1995 at 101, her investment had grown up to 22 million. And like I said, every money that she invested or that grown, she saved. Like I said, she not checked her apartment for the 50 years she lived there. She didn't go ahead and buy new cars, collecting new cars or new Rolex watches. She had to go. The donation was made to Yeshiva University. I hope that's the way to pronounce Yeshiva University, Stern College for Women, and the Albert Einstein College of Medicine. And the intention was to enable younger women to overcome discrimination that she herself endured during her working years, so that this scholarship will help women to better their lives, better themselves. We were told that this gift was actually a shock, surprised many. They called her a post-mortem philanthropist. She was never known to have been doing this on her own without looking to be praised, without looking for men's reward or for anyone to even acknowledge what she was doing. Only focus on who sent her, which is her maker. For me, it's a great story. It's a good story to learn from. It's time for us to sit back as we move forward and step into a new week and see yourself. I don't know, probably maybe you're watching this after, maybe during the week. It may be any day of the week. But maybe it's time for you to sit back and say, what am I doing? Am I doing it for men to praise me? Or am I doing it because it's the work and purpose that God has committed into my hands and I must fulfill it. I hope that's your goal today. As I round up this session, I want to challenge you as I challenge myself to continue to look into our life. As we live daily, are we living for God? Are we living to fulfill His purpose? Are we living for men to praise us? I hope this helps. I hope we'll find another reason, if it's not the right reason, to follow through with the goal and purpose a God has committed into your hands. As you go, I pray that each and every one of us will come to the realization that God is the only rewarder of those who truly loves Him. Have a blessed night. Thank you again for listening. This again is Test to Testimonies. I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.